All right, another major aspect when it comes to formatting your numbers or formatting, just your worksheet in general, is something called conditional formatting. Conditional formatting allows you to take a range of cells and, depending on their content, create some sort of a format or apply some sort of format to that area if a certain criteria that you've set is met. Okay? And there's a lot of different ones you can do here. And by the way, too, I'm going to be covering the general ones in this session. But if you look at the module 3 of Excel, all of those videos there have to do with conditional formatting. And there's a whole lot of stuff you can do with conditional formatting. I'm just kind of scraping the surface, showing you what I'm about to show you here. But if you like what you see and you want to learn more about it, look at that module 3 set of videos, okay? Well, anyway, so this first little mini worksheet here that we've got, I've got this whole range of numbers here for all the different reps having sold over the 12 months. And what I want to do is I want to take this range and color any cell background in green as long as the value in that cell is over 40,000. Okay? So how would we do that? So we'll go back into, you select the area, you go to Home, we go to Conditional Formatting, we go down to Highlight Cell Rules, right? And we go to the greater than, and that's it. Now, we have to tell it 40,000, because we want all cells that are over 40,000 to be what? Well, then we can go over here and change that to green, okay? And that's it. Once you've done that, you hit OK, it's set, all right? Now, it's live. It's almost like there's actually a formula that's kind of built in there that's kind of evaluating the whole situation here. So if I were to go back to maybe this cell here, and let's say I were to type in 40,000, let's say 40,001, boom, there it goes. It changes. I go to this cell here, and I type in, let's say, 39,000, it goes away. So pretty cool. Now, let's say that's at the high end. Let's say at the low end, anything, let's say less than 20,000, we want that to be red. Okay, less than 20,000. So we can go ahead and take this entire range again, conditional formatting, highlight cell rules, less than, and we're going to say less than 40,000, right? There we go. Oh, not 40,000, I'm sorry, less than 20,000, sorry about that. So less than 20,000, we want those to be red. Now it's already coming up as red, already has that selected, so all we have to do is just hit OK, and there we go, see? And that'll work the same way as the green did as far as making changes for the better or for the worse. Now, what about in between? Now in between, that range of, let's say 20 to 40, that is, in this case, white. And if that's okay with you, then leave it alone. If you say to yourself, well, I'd like that maybe to be yellow, okay, and then how do we do that? Well, we'll select that same range again, conditional formatting, highlight cells, and then we go to the between. And we say between 20,000 and 40,000, right? And there we go. And we're going to make those guys yellow. There we go. Hit OK, and there you have it. All right, so now here's another area we can look at. In column C, we have ID numbers, and it turns out that a number of the ID numbers are duplicates, and we just want to make ourselves aware of that because we're going to have to change those IDs later on. But we just want to make sure we know where those duplicates are. So you can actually select this whole range right here, okay? Go to conditional formatting, go to highlight cell rules, and we have something here called duplicate values. And you can set that to be whatever color you want it to be. Let's say we make it, we'll go with a custom format. We'll do that one. So this was something that you could have done when we were setting those other ones as well. If we go to custom format, we can tell it exactly what we want it to be. And let's say we want we'll just go with the fill here. We want the fill to be this light brown, let's say, right? So, or rust. And then we go ahead and hit OK on that. And there you go. Pretty neat. All right, now, what we also have over on the right side here is whether or not these reps are vested in the company, okay? And they're either yes, they're vested, no, they're not vested, or maybe they're pending. And what we like to do is color code this so that maybe the yeses have one color, the no's have another color, and the pending have still another, all right? How do we do that? Well, we can select that range, go back into conditional formatting, highlight cell rules, text that contains, all right? And for the Y, we'll make that maybe, I guess we can go and do a custom on this. So we'll do custom format, and we'll say that we want those, which are going to be yeses. We'll make those kind of like a, let's see here. We'll go with this red background. Well, that's a little too red there. Let's just go with the gray. So we'll start out with this darker one here. So that'll be the yeses for the background. Okay, so we do that. Hit OK, and there that goes, right? Then we hit OK again, and now that's in place. Now, the pending, we want that to be maybe a little bit lighter. So while we still have it selected, we'll go back into conditional formatting, highlight, and then we're going to go here to where it says text that contains, and we'll change this from a yes to a P for pending, all right? And the P for pending will be, we'll go back to our custom again, and we'll make that maybe a little bit lighter, maybe this one here, okay? And then we go ahead and hit OK on that one. And then hit OK. And then, now for the nose, what we'll do is we'll go back in once again. And then we'll say highlight cell rules. Go back down to our text. And we'll make that a no. All right. And on the nose, we'll go ahead and we'll make that a, so we'll do custom again here, and we'll do the really light. We'll just do that there. And then hit OK. And there we go. And there you have it. So we've got the yeses, we got the pending, and we've got the no's in there. So that's pretty cool. Now for this next one down here, what I'd like to do is highlight the background of the cells where they are blank, okay? And there's a difference between the cell being blank with nothing in it versus a cell having 0 in it. Technically blank, but technically it's really a 0 as well. So I don't want to, I'm assuming that the 0 is in there because that's what they did that month. But I want to show the cells that are missing any type of value. In other words, we didn't even bother to go there to put anything in, okay? And we want to make sure that kind of stands out so that later on we can fill it with some information. So what we'll do is we'll select the range just like this, okay? And then we'll go back into conditional formatting. So we'll go there and we will go to, and we can just do this one here, it doesn't matter. But we can go to highlight cell rules, but instead of doing any of these rules here, we can tell it more rules, see? And in there, we can say format only cells that contain, all right? And over here, it's got something where it says cell value greater than. Well, we don't even want that. I wanted to say where it's just blank, all right? That's it, just blank. And what do we want to do with the blanks? Well, we'll go to format. We'll pick something. Maybe yellow. Actually, not yellow because we already have yellow in there. So we'll go with rust again. Hit OK. Hit OK. And there we go. And there's our blanks. All right. Now, the minute that we go to that cell, let's say we go to this one here, and I type in a 0, well then it's 0 and it's technically not blank, right? All right, so that's pretty cool. Another thing we can do is if you look at the higher dates here, what I like to do is see all of those where the date that they were hired, let's say exceeds, I don't know, let's say September 1st of 2014, let's say, right? So what we can do here is we can select this range here, go back to conditional formatting, highlight cell rules, greater than, all right? And we can just type in the date if we want to. So I'll just type in 9/1/2014, let's say, right? And I want that to be red, right? So you'll hit OK, and there they are. So you can actually see those. So that's pretty cool. All right, let's move on here, and we're going to go to this next sheet here. What I want to do with these numbers is I want to know what the top 10 numbers are. Where are the top 10 numbers, you know, as far as value goes, right? So if we go to conditional formatting, top bottom rules, top 10 items versus top 10%, we're going to do the items. So top 10 items, and we're going to change that 10 to a 20, and I don't want it to be red, I'd rather it be green. Boom, that's it. Now, in that same range, I want the bottom 20, all right? So I'm going to go back in there again, click on there again, and I'm going to do the bottom items, all right? Bottom 10 items. And I'm going to change the 10 to 20. And we'll leave that red, hit OK, and there you go. That's pretty cool. Now in this next area here, what I want to do is show all the numbers in this range that are in the top and bottom percentages. So let's do a little bit different. We'll say I want to see all the numbers that are at the top 10%. Okay, so not top 10 numbers, but top 10%. Right. So we got the area selected. Conditional formatting, top bottom rules, top percent, it's already set for 10. We're going to change that to green, hit OK, and there they go. And while we still have it selected, back in there again, and we're going to do the bottom 10%, and it's already at 10. It's already in red, so I just hit OK. Pretty neat. I mean, it's a good way of, you know, if you're going to be presenting your numbers to an audience or whatever, they can actually see this right away, see where the good numbers are and where the, I guess, the bad numbers would be, right? Okay, last but not least, down here, what I want to do is I want to see my, all the numbers that are above average, okay, above the overall average. So if I were to take all these numbers here, and if you look at the bottom here, it'll tell us that the overall average is 31,478. So I want to have it highlight in green all of the numbers that exceed that, okay? And by the way, keep in mind that zeros are considered to be in the count of average, okay? Blanks are not, okay? Just keep that in mind overall. That's just how average works. Anyway, so we got that area selected, conditional formatting, top, bottom, above average, and we'll make those all in green, right? There they are, right? Hit OK, perfect. Go back in there again, and of course we have to have what? All the ones that are below average, right? And we want those to be in red, that's fine, hit OK, and there we go. All right, so obviously zeros are below the average, but notice how the blanks are not included because they're just blank. They would not be part of an average. So that's how that works. All right, our next one here, we're going to talk about scaling. Okay, now I'm going to zoom out just a little bit so you can see this a bit better there. Okay, so what we're looking at here are pretty much the same numbers and all, but what I like to do is have a kind of a fade from like white to dark green dark green being the highest number, and the whitest of white would be the lowest number, and then have, you know, a shade of green in between on that. So another word for this is, or another term they use in business is, it's a heat map, and it shows the higher numbers usually in red or going redder, and then not so red going the other way. All right, so in this case, what we're going to do here is we're going to select this range, just like that, go to conditional formatting, go into the, in this case, we're going to go into the scales here, right? And you've got a lot of different ways you can make it look. So in this case, it's, you know, the bigger the number, the greener it's going to be. The smaller the number, the redder it's going to be, right? And then yellow kind of in between there. So they got a lot of different ones in here. It gets a little too much for me, I think. I'd rather just kind of stick with a single color. So in this case, we've got it going from, you know, green for the highest number and white being the lowest number, and then you got your shades in between. Kind of a neat thing. So you click onto that. That works really good. All right. So it kind of gives you an idea that January looks pretty light, really, and kind of white as well. Whereas you look like maybe December or some of these other months, maybe July, has a little bit different look to it. So just kind of an interesting aspect, that's all. Now another thing we can do is on this one for the totals, all right, we can put in what are called data bars, okay? And what this will do is it'll look at all the numbers, and for each number compared to the other, it will figure out a width of a bar. So the bar will become wider inside of this. It'll be like a background bar, depending on how big the number is. So the smallest number will have the less wide, and the biggest number will have the wider one, okay? So watch what happens here. We select this area, conditional formatting, data bars, and you've got your gradients, which go from like a dark to a light. And you've also then got your solids as well. So it just depends on what you're looking to do here, all right? Green doesn't look too bad. You know, we got the blue. Ooh, that's pretty nasty, huh? We'll pick that one. All right, there you go. So not too bad, huh? So if you look at it, you can see, okay, here's our larger numbers, larger totals. Pretty large there, and you can see the smaller ones being the shorter ones. So if I'm just going to override this, but if I were to make this, let's say 200, then you'd see that. Say if I made it 100, you got that. Okay. All right, so last but not least, we've got the icons. We'll go click on that tab. And this will put icons depending on the values. And we can do stoplights, all kinds of things. I'll show you how this works. So we'll go ahead and we select this range. All right. Then we go back into conditional formatting, icon sets, and you've got these. Now, what happens is you just kind of hover over each of these, and you can kind of get the different ones you've got here. But when you look at the ones that have the 3, basically what happens is the lower third valued numbers will get the down arrow. The middle third will get the right arrow, which is the yellow one, and then the top third will be that. And if you go with the 4s, then that would be just in quarters, right? So it just depends on which one you want to go with. If you, I mean, you can go with like the stoplights here that we've got. You can just do these guys here. You can do check marks, you know, things like that if you wanted. They're all pretty obnoxious, but this one, I don't know if you can really see that well there, but you got a lot of different ones in here, but I'll just pick this one here. So we click onto it, and that's it. So now you can kind of get a sense of where maybe your bad numbers are, where your good numbers are, and then your in-betweens are the yellows. And that's pretty much it. But like I said, you know, if you find this to be of big interest, definitely check out Module 3's videos on conditional formatting, because we do a ton of stuff with that. It's just unbelievable what you can do. But anyway, appreciate you watching the video. Take care.